The Gospel challenges us to build right relationships with each other and all of creation. This powerful story reveals what happens when right relationships break down. The Subanan people of the southern Philippines are literally having their forest environment cut down around them, with the timber slated for export and the vacant land for cropping. Feeling politically powerless, they have drawn on their faith, creating their own stations of the cross to tell their story. This has helped them connect their own sufferings with Christ's and with the suffering of all of God's creation.
The forests are condemned to death. For millennia, forests have given life and beauty to our planet Earth. They've provided water for its rivers, nourishment for its flowers and plants, and homes for its animals, for the fish and the birds. They help to regulate our climate. In the book of Genesis, God the Creator says, "See, I give you all the seed-bearing plants that are upon the whole earth, and all the trees." The writer of Psalm 96 tells us that the forests sing God's praises. Let the trees sing out for joy. Yet the forests are condemned to die. The forests are targeted for destruction. Bulldozers cut scars deep into the back of the tropical forests. Again and again, blades rip up the fragile skin of the forests. Soon logging trucks travel along the wounded back, bringing people and machines with which to attack the helpless trees. In order to advance so-called development and satisfy our voracious appetites for wood, paper, minerals, and other products, rainforest trees are being sacrificed in tropical countries, along with rivers, soil, animals, birds, and flowers. The forests fall the first time. Chainsaws of logging companies slash the trunks of the trees. As each tree crashes to the ground, the splintering wood fills the forest with its screams. Smaller trees are broken or crushed, and the soil is stripped as the logs are dragged to the logging trucks. Only stumps remain. 1.5 acres of rainforests are lost every second somewhere in the world. Rainforests are being destroyed because the value of rainforest is perceived as only the value of its timber by short-sighted governments, banks, investors, multinational logging companies, agribusinesses, and energy and mining companies. The trees meet their mother, Earth. Like a mother, the soil protects the seeds and nourishes the young trees. Now the trees lie dead in the arms of their mother, Earth. The whole Earth, too, is under threat, for without the protection of the sheltering trees, the life-giving soil will erode and disappear. Without sufficient tree cover to absorb the rains and fossil fuel gases produced in our industrial societies, the climate becomes less hospitable to all life on Earth. The loggers help carry the logs. For a few coins, people are hired to cut and carry the logs. They cannot refuse because they need to buy food for their families. When the forest is destroyed, they'll be hungry. Tragically, the poor help to destroy their own future in order to eat today. They and those who try to help them use the forest sustainably, often fall victim to human rights abuses, and are even killed. The clouds wipe the face of the forests. Even in the dry season, the cool, wet tropical forests continue to form rain clouds. Soon the forests will be destroyed, and the barren land will be too hot and too dry to make clouds. There'll be floods and destruction, or the rivers will dry and droughts will create hunger and famine. For the last time, the clouds gently touch the face of the dying forests. The forests fall the second time. Forests are cleared to make way for cattle ranches, biofuel plantations, and urban sprawl. Very often the wood is simply burned to make charcoal or burned for agriculture, with massive forest fires releasing hundreds of tons of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. The forest people weep for the trees.
They mourn as they watch not just the trees, but their home being destroyed. Here they gathered food and root crops from the forest floor that was protected by centuries-old majestic trees.
They made medicine from the leaves and plants. They were nourished by fish and wild animals. But most of all, they cry now over the loss of this beautiful part of creation they cared for. Here God planted the rarest flowers and composed the magnificent songs of the birds. The people of the forest weep, not only for their forest and the loss of its biodiversity, but for all people who will no longer have this cathedral where they can experience and chant to the glory of God. Their culture, language, meaning, spirituality, and traditions were intimately linked to the environment. They too are condemned to die. The forests fall for the last time. The seeds of the trees left in the soil try to sprout again, but become victims to mining companies that come to claim the gold, copper, nickel, and other minerals. They claim the trees and the rivers as theirs. The people are left without rights to their lands. They receive meager compensation, 30 pieces of silver. The soil and the agriculture that the poor people depend on are sacrificed to feed globalization. The mining companies destroy the landscape, even the mountains, to get at the minerals beneath. These are regarded as more valuable now than the trees, the land, the marine environment, and the local people. Pollution from mining operations poisons local agriculture, rivers and seas.
The harmony between people, land, sea, and air is broken.
The land is stripped. The loggers and miners are gone. The forests are now deserts, wastelands. Only rocks and sand and enormous craters remain. There are no trees to protect the soil, and there's no soil where new trees can grow. There's no food, no rice or corn. There are no animals, no birds, no flowers, no fish. There are no loggers, no slash-and-burn farmers, no mining companies. There are no fresh and clear streams and rivers. There are no forest people. The stripping of the land means death for life itself. The rain hammers the unprotected soil. The sheltering plants are gone. The watersheds are no more. When the rainy season comes, there's nothing to protect the soil from the force of the driving rain. The rain hammers the soil, hitting the ground like exploding bombs. There are landslides and villages are buried under the rubble and mud. The soil bleeds into the rivers and is washed down to the sea. The forests are dead. The death of forests is forever. Once the rainforest is destroyed, all the forms of animal and plant life that live in the forest can never come back to life. In only a few years, the beautiful forests which took God millennia to create are destroyed forever by humans and their machines. The consequences are tragic for the whole global community. The death of forests is the death of the planet's biodiversity. And since rainforests absorb 1/5 of global carbon dioxide emissions, their loss means that global warming will be further speeded up. The healing power of Mother Earth is compromised. The forests and the minerals are taken down to the seaports for export. Little of the wood from the forests remains in the global south. Wood and minerals are taken away in ships to wealthy nations, whose remaining forests and environment is protected. The tropical forests are gone forever, taken away to be buried in foreign lands. Before humans started destroying the rainforests, they covered 15% of the Earth's land area. Today they cover less than 7%. The Philippines has lost nearly 90% of its original rainforest over the past 50 years. Thailand, 80%. Experts estimate that the last remaining rainforests, including the mighty Amazon rainforest, could disappear within the next 40 years. The burial of the forests is the burial of the people. The forest is dead. The loggers and poor farmers return to the lowlands to look for work as farmers and fishermen. But floods and droughts caused by deforestation and pollution have ruined the lowland farms, and the soil that was washed to the sea has destroyed the fishing areas. The death of the forests has become the death of the people. They're forced to go far from home to earn a living as environmental and economic refugees. In Luke's Gospel, Jesus turned to those who were weeping as he walked to Calvary and said,
"Do not weep for me. Weep rather for yourselves and for your children. For if this is what is done to green wood, what will be done when the wood is dry?"
Fragile grounds for hope. After the burial of Jesus, there is a 15th station, the resurrection. The forests that are dead are finished and cannot be brought back to life again. Christian hope must be based on what can be done with the forests that remain. We can and must act now, or they too will soon be gone. The task of preserving and healing our planet is a daunting one, given human greed and the relentless drive of our plunder economy. But there is also generosity, and people have given their lives to protect the forests and the people who live there. God has given us creativity and ingenuity, which we can harvest in the service of life. The Spirit of God, who breathed over the waters and brought life out of chaos, urges all people to enhance and protect the integrity of creation. We must change our lifestyles and take action now, both commercial and political, to safeguard the life of the forests that remain and the poor who depend on them. We should live simply so that others may simply live. Let us listen to the stories of the rainforest peoples, to those affected by mining and climate change around the world. Together, we can change and protect our home, planet Earth. We can and must live sustainably so that future generations can live on the vibrant planet we have inherited. Let us together renew the face of the earth.
All powerful stories carry a universal message. Just as people and the earth are absolutely interconnected, so are the natural world and faith. The earth is God's first revelation, something deeply and intuitively understood by the Subanan people. Their story helps us to reflect on our story. Looking at our landscape, its beauty, its scars, what challenges us? Can we remake the traditional devotion of the Stations of the Cross? Can it move us as a community to a new relationship with our land and each other?